What's going on, guys? MK Tom Brady here. So in this video, I want to talk about some of the issues that are in Aftermath right now. The latest one we'll start with, which I'm sure you guys have heard or all seen this by now, but for those who haven't, I'll go ahead and show the video. This was discovered, I believe, by Aziz, or Aziz, however he says his name, and I'm going to go ahead and play this for you now. Okay, so in this video, you see that he's basically using strings that are generally minus 15 and minus 13, or minus 16 and minus 13, or minus 14, whatever, I forget the exact minus. And basically, he's recovering at like slight advantage. So he's shaving off like 15 frames, right, of disadvantage. Likewise, on hit, he's adding massive frames of advantage on hit, which is how the infinite is possible. And there are also other combos that are possible with this exploit, such as stuff like this. All right, so that's like 41% with just one bar. For those who are wondering how this is even being done, there's basically a cancel that Fujin can do of all his strings, basically by going into his float right here. And then you cancel out of that with stand switch. So basically what that's doing is you're basically not even going into this animation, right? But you're still keeping the hit advantage. So you're canceling out of what you're doing extremely early, but you're not ever leaving the ground or even entering that stance. So you're basically standing here free to move with massive hit advantage, which is how this infinite is possible. And I've also seen something in his second variation, although I haven't seen anybody confirm this. I saw a video about it. I don't exactly know. I don't remember who showed it to me. This was like a day or two ago. I haven't confirmed if this is actually an infinite or not. But it might be, but I believe it might be corner only. So basically, somebody was basically looping this over and over and over again in the corner. I believe this is they said it was like a one frame link or something. So basically they do this, and they link this over and over again. And the combo counter never stops. Supposedly they have the computer on set to block. So that also may be an infinite, although I haven't seen that confirmed anywhere. So basically you have those problems. And then you have Shiva. There's some weird stuff going on in her variation 1. So her variation 1, now first of all, the infinite is obviously, before I can move on to Shiva, let me just say this. The infinite is obviously going to be patched out of the game. Let's just hope it's sooner rather than later. So that's obviously an issue. Oh, one more thing before I move on to Shiva. Fujin. Then there's this issue here that I touched on in another video. It's basically you're able to break his down back 4 special, or down forward 4, I forget the command now. You're able to break that special by flawless blocking it. And what do I mean by breaking it? And I did touch on this in a video that I released late last night. So basically, this right here, let's move it on, block all. This, play Sub-Zero. This move right here. All right. Now, if you flawless block this, now all of a sudden it's no longer got pushback. See how it's always -6 there? No pushback. Now again, pushback and it recovers at 0. But if you full us block it, you don't even need to launch it. But if you full us block it in general, right? See this pushback there? Notice again, pushback recovers at 0. Now here it's -6. Now it's always safe as still. It's still, even if you don't full us block it, it's still safe. But the problem is you're left nose to nose, and even though he's safe, he's at considerable disadvantage, so he pretty much has to hold whatever you're going to do. Shiva, you know, her variation 1, which is pretty much based around stomps. The whole purpose of this variation is, you know, she's going to be doing stomp mix-ups because she has the additional, she has the tremor stomp, and she has the, besides the generic down up, she also has the ability to, you know, aim which way the stomp is going to go, you know, forward or backward for additional stomp mix-ups. So this variation right here is a lot about like stomp mind games, etc., all kind of different ways to kind of play mind games with her stomp, and that's pretty much the feature of this variation here. The problem is when she does this, she either gets hit by the uppercut or it goes right through Devora. So, I mean, it literally, here we go, see there. So if Devora times is right, it causes a problem where it always whiffs. And it whiffs, and then Devora, I believe, gets a full combo. I don't have the timing down. There's a way to do this to where it whiffs always, and then Devora gets a full combo punish. There we go. And I don't, you know. So Devora can always make that. Like I said, I'm not a Devora player. I don't time this. And this works against any stomp. Delay, non-delay, forward, backwards, whatever it is. So obviously the forward, backwards are not going to hit her. And when it comes to the stomp right on top of her, it pretty much goes right through her like she's not even there. It's like it alters Devora's hitbox in some way, shape, or form. Now, this variation is supposed to be built around stomps and the stomp mind games. And something like this, I mean, it basically, you know, and Shiva players are like, you know, I mean, this is built around the stomp, and then this kind of stuff happens. You know, Fujin players, the infinite aside, we know the infinite's going to be fixed. But where you flawless block, and even though he's still safe, he's stuck next to you at disadvantage instead of pushback and at 0. And then, you know, they're like, well, this shouldn't happen, you know. Shiva's stomp thing, you know. But the problem is, when it comes to Raiden, and his buff's not working, and for those who don't know what I'm talking about, you know, they kind of gave Raiden this buff where it was, hey, you know, first they took some block stun frames off of his back 1-2, and they did this in order to, you know, making sure that you're not jailed into the throw, but they allowed you to use the throw on block. So they allowed you to go through the whole full combo, back 1-2 combo into his throw. And even though you can flawless block his down forward 2 in Raiden, it's kind of like, well, you know, if you're trying to flawless block, you're going to get thrown. If you try to get thrown, you're going to get hit by this attack. Okay, that's supposed to be the mind game or the meta behind it. The problem is there is no mind game there. There's no whatever, because like I showed in another video, first of all, you know, you're able to just no, I didn't want to control combo. I'm dumb. You're able to, so just by cross blocking, it, you know, it's pretty much, you're dead. And I'm never noticing never releasing block. But if he does something like this, let me just show you guys there's that. And then there's this. So I'll record both examples here. And we'll just go over this very quickly. Now I'm going to set it to random hidden playback. So obviously, I don't know which move is coming out. You know, it's just random hidden. And that gets avoided. Some stuff there. And then you just up to it. Oh, even that goes under it. Wow. And then he's dead. Now I can understand, and I flawless block it every time he does it. You know, this is an option select. You know, whiffs. And then if you time that right, it's going to flawless block. And then you're going to up to launch him. There you go. He's dead. 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 And he's dead. So it's an option select. So basically Raiden has this nerf that's only nerfed to compensate for his buff. Now he has a mind game he didn't have, which ultimately makes him better. But the buff aspect of it is gone, and only the nerf aspect of it is there. And that's across the board. Now my problem with this is when you start fixing problems, if you ignore others, it makes people angry. People have no problem telling Raiden players, adapt. You're fine. Pick another character. Choose a different matchup. Yet, Shiva players, let's say they get their stomp fixed. Fujin players, does nobody tell them, adapt? It's only -6, you're still safe. Oh well, them's the breaks, working by design. But people will tell Raiden players they're working by design. Well, if you fix Shiva, then you have to fix Fujin. If you fix Shiva and Fujin, then you have to fix Raiden. Clearly, Fujin's special was not made to be flawless blocked and then broken for the rest of the match. Clearly, Shiva's stomp was not meant to go through your body by whiffing an uppercut. Clearly, Raiden's throw was not made to be completely useless, right? But if we're going by, you know, what was intended, what about Sub-Zero's creeping ice? Do you think they designed the move to say, let's make sure only Kung Lao and Cetrion can jump out of it? Probably not. So, and if you fix Sub-Zero's creeping ice, what about the next character that has some type of hitbox issue or some weird unintended thing? The problem is when you have issues like this, rather than addressing them all by picking and choosing, hey Fujin players, hey Shiva players, we got you. Raiden players, sorry bro, you just got to adapt. You know, it's not fair. It makes people angry. It makes people upset. You know, why choose to address some issues and ignore others? And I think that's where some people's frustration comes from with the game. You have Raiden players who have been waiting for God knows how long for their buffs. They get news of a buff, and then they see this, and they're like, what? It doesn't even work. So it'll be very interesting to see, for one, just how quickly the NRS acts in fixing some of these issues. And it'll be interesting to see if they go back and say, okay, since we're tweaking issues in general, let's handle multiple issues. Will they handle Raiden? Will they handle Shiva? Will they handle Fujin outside of his infinite? Will they address his special pretty much being broken after a flawless block? You know, how many things are they actually going to address? How many, you know, known issues? So this will be very interesting to see. I mean, obviously it's a new release, so there are going to be some issues. Again, they're very limited, I would say, with their testing, especially since, you know, they can't really do things in-house like that right now with everything going on with the coronavirus. But now that a lot of stuff is coming to light, it'll be interesting to see how they handle it, and hopefully they do it right and they fix all the issues, but only time will tell. So thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time.